What's up? What's going on? Happy Monday. Man, I think this is the last Monday is this the last Monday? This is the last Monday of June 2024. And wow, this is June 2024. Oh my goodness, I didn't even notice that. But this is the last Monday. And I just want to share something today. I think hopefully today is going to land on the ears of someone who needs to hear this particular message about learning, what learning and what your objectives for your life, for your business, for your money, whatever it is, for your fitness, how just having an objective can literally change your life. I'm going to share that with you today on the podcast. And so my name is Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. And so an awesome, incredible Monday. Before I get started, I do want to just kind of like share a couple of things, which is behind me. I have some books. If you are looking to grow your life, you want to grow your life, you want to grow your finances. I got three amazing books. 2 on personal development, which starts with faith, next level faith, moving mountains in uncertain times. To get to where you would like to go, going to have a next level faith. That's an amazing book with some amazing stories and testimonies of some people who actually did some things that really they didn't know that they could get through. So that's next level faith. Then we got living life on the next level. Living life on the next level is literally a blueprint, a path of personal leadership discovery. Because if you want to become the best version of yourself, then that book's going to share with you, one, how I did it. Doesn't mean you have to do it exactly like me. It just gives a blueprint, a framework for you potentially to use. And then Beyond Tax Strategy, which is about going into business, being entrepreneurial, yields opportunity, not danger. That is what Beyond means. And so you don't have to be afraid when it comes to going into business. And I even throw in some keys to tax strategy and how you can kind of start looking at taxes as a way to start your wealth building process. So 7 years, and here we are, the last Monday of June. So it's June 24th, 2024, and this is the last Monday last Monday of June 2024. So I'm excited because I want to share with you a 7-year journey in just a few minutes, not a long journey. This is 7 years of recording my mouth, literally recording my mouth. I started out taking my phone out and just talking into my phone just like this. Now, here's what happened before I tell you what happened, I got to tell you why I did it. I didn't want to do it. Have you ever decided or not even made a decision? Have you ever wanted to do something in your life, didn't know how to do it, but then God showed up and showed you a way? God showed you a way. See, here's the thing. A lot of times we have an idea to do something and we think it's supposed to go one way, but God says, no, I have a way to get this done for you. And a lot of times we don't know. So when God says, start recording your voice, I was just like, well, what is this for? He says, well, just do it because I asked you to, right? That's the first thing. Do it because you heard God speaking to you about something in your life. And so I was like, okay, I got to do this. Now, but while I was doing, I says, well, if I have to do this, if I've got to record myself and literally no one's watching, if no one is watching me, then what does that mean, God? He says, well, one, you're only looking for one person to watch. I said, well, who's that? Me. You're just looking for me to listen and watch what you're doing because I'm the one who asked you to do it. Don't worry about who else is going to watch. So that was another thing I had to get used to. Then the other thing that I had to get used to was, he says, all right, I know you don't know what to say. Have you ever got up in front and didn't know exactly what to say or was so deathly afraid that you was like, I'm not getting up? And I said, well, Lord, if I'm going to have to do this, I don't want to ever have to think. I don't want to ever have to wonder. I don't want to ever have to just be nervous. This weekend, I was at the Rise and Shine Summit. And while I was there, I renamed it to the Rise and Shine Wealth Activation Summit. And the one thing that I can tell you, not really about the event, but more about this 7 years, is what I discovered is that when you when you practice something for a long time, you never have to wonder what you're going to say. And that was something that, at first when I was preparing for the summit, and then the Holy Spirit was like, look, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you how what you're doing means something. And so I went to the summit, and Holy Spirit would not allow me to do PowerPoint, Google Slides. No, says, no, you don't have to do that. Which I think there's a reason why you should do it, and then there's reasons why you don't have to do it, right? So I went without the PowerPoint, without the slides, and I just was myself up there. I was literally myself up there, and I was able to, to really go through and almost like, because really in the time that I was there, it's more of a teaser. It was only 30 minutes, and typically you're going to tease, 30 minutes is impossible for someone's life. Well, it's not going to be impossible, but it's virtually impossible to change someone's life in 30 minutes. So, but I did I took what I had, and it was because of 7 years of recording my voice on this phone. 7 years recording my voice. I'm able to use story. I'm able to use emotion. I'm able to, help people to see things that they didn't see. I'm able to motivate and inspire all at the same time. And I thought that was interesting, because I said, wow, God, so what's next? And as I think about what's next, have you ever wondered, like, what's next in your life? What's coming next? If you've decided, what is my next level? I was listening to a doctor this morning. I can't remember his name, but I'm definitely I got to go buy it. I got to go find it, because I know he wrote a book. I got to go get the book, but I don't know his name today, but I'm sure I'll share his name soon. And he shared something really interesting about growth. And what he shared about growth, and you definitely want to pay attention to this. He says the first 7 years of your life, you're taking everything in. And which you may know that, you may have known that, but 7 years you're taking everything in. And while you're taking everything in, it's like we are building programs in our mind, in our body, in our brain. And these programs are what you wind up using in order to operate your life. And then he talked about how you can change programs, but he also said one thing that was really significant. He said that blueprints can't change. Like, you cannot change a blueprint, which means that if you're running a program within you, you really can't change it by saying, I'm going to change it. You can't talk about changing it. There's only a couple ways to change your blueprints. If you want to change it, it's kind of like a computer. If I look at the computer and I say, man, I want this computer to change. The computer cannot do it. There's no change in the computer. It has all the programs on it. They've already been downloaded. The software is running, and there's nothing you can do about it until you're going to have to go into the program and reset it. You're going to go into the program, and sometimes you got to download more programs on it while removing the ones that you don't want. So what happens is we wake up every day running the same programs. Now, in order for me to record my voice for 7 years, right? In order for me to have done that, in order for you to do something, you literally have to create a new program. Now, there's a couple ways to create a new program. The first way to create a new program is go into theta. Theta is the state right as you're going to sleep. And what happens is that's what babies experience. Babies are in theta most of the time. That's how they take in everything in their environment. They're not trying to learn anything. They're just learning it. So you have to go into theta. And he says, when you go into theta, like say, for instance, you wanted to learn how to do something, and you're playing you're playing a video, you're playing audio in your environment. So when you go to sleep and you play that over and over and over, what happens is when you go into theta, it's picking it up and it's downloading it. And you just got to keep doing it. Now, what happens is you can literally learn something just by going into theta. And theta is a state right as you're going to sleep. It's kind of like you're kind of bewildered. You ever go to sleep and kind of like, and then woke right up and you kind of felt bewildered? You were probably like in theta. Now, once we go into delta, delta is the state where you're really asleep. Now, in delta, it doesn't work the same, but in theta, that's where you literally learn. You can learn stuff. But then he said another way that you can learn how to do something is it's through you got to create a new habit. And so that's in essence what I did when I started recording on the phone. I had to literally come here. I didn't have a camera. I wasn't on a camera because I was actually afraid back then. So I would turn on the phone and I would speak to the phone. I'm just talking to the phone, creating. And it created a habit so that even when I don't do it, so I didn't record anything for the past 2 days because I was busy. I wasn't able to record. Even though I know that I didn't do it for 2 days, it's not actually hard for me to start doing it again. Whereas sometimes when it doesn't stick, if you haven't done it long enough and you take a couple of days off, then a lot of times it stops. It's kind of like a person goes to the gym, maybe they went the first week and then the next week something happened and then something happened and then something happened. It's a month, it's 2 months, and then they're like, man, it just didn't stick. So when you're talking about doing something in your life, doing something in your business. And literally, while I was at the gym today and I'm listening to this doctor, which I can't remember his name, I'm listening to this doctor and he's sharing all this information. I'm just like, that is so interesting because have you ever, look, you have to be honest here. Have you ever wanted to change something? Have you ever wanted to change something consciously? In your conscious mind, like literally the conscious mind is how you can reason. It's kind of like conscious. When you're conscious, you can think. But the thing about being conscious is that it's slower. It's much slower. So when we in our conscious mind, you know that you would like to do something. You would like a result of something. But here's what he said. He said, a lot of times we look for the fruit. We want the fruit. I want you to think about this. We want the fruit and we go straight for the fruit. We go straight for the fruit. You can't go straight for the fruit. Man, I want to make more money. So let me go ahead and try to make more. You can't do that because you're running programs that will literally say, no, you are not going to get more than what you've already had. You are not going to be able to do things that you haven't done. Your programs will run against it. Your programs will run against it. Be honest here. Your programs will run against it. And so what he said was, he says, when there's something you would like to do, I'm going to say this. You got to get honest about who you are in the moment. And you got to say, well, wow, I've always wanted this, but my results right now are showing that it's not here. So if my results are showing that I don't have what it is that I would like, how do I get the fruit? Here it is. You ready? Instead of going for the fruit, you go to the root. Instead of going to the fruit, instead of going for the results you want, you got to get to the root. We got to get to the heart of the matter. And when we get to the heart, when we get to the root, we have to root out the old programming. One of the things that I love to say today is you got to get honest about money. Because without being honest about the fact that, look, you got to say, I want to be rich. You have to say it. You don't, but here's the thing. You can't see, a lot of times the reason why people are afraid to say it, especially believers, they are afraid to say it. They're afraid to say it because I don't just want to, if I say that, then it sounds selfish. It sounds like, it's all about the money. It is. It's all about the money. I'm telling you, look, I'm not saying that You shouldn't love people. You shouldn't really love what you do and serve people. That's a part of the process. You gotta love people, you gotta serve people. You got to serve your gifts. But it's about the money. If you can't get the money, then that means that it's gonna be hard to get the people. What people love, they want to see somebody winning. They want to see somebody doing things that they're afraid to do. They want to see somebody getting things that they haven't got. So as a believer, you gotta say, I gotta be rich, because by being rich, I can show the power of God in my life. I can say I was broke. I can say it wasn't working, but look at me now. It's because God transformed my life. God is the one who did all this. But that's the problem. People are afraid to say these types of things. I just want to be comfortable for me and my family. That is not kingdom. Me and my family. It's not enough. I learned this, and it took me 7 years to come to this idea. Because by coming to this idea, and I'm going to create a new group. And it's going to be a free group. It's going to be a free group just to be a part of the community. I think the name of the group is going to be the I'm Very Rich group. Why? Because that's your ultimate desire. And it's going to be a free group so people can come together and we're going to have conversations around rich. Alicia says, I used to want to just get out of debt. Yeah, and that puts you at zero. That doesn't take you anywhere. I mean, it takes you out of debt, which if a person's in debt, let's get out of debt. Let's get in debt as we're making the impact. And by making the impact, we're making more money. And by making more money, we're able to actually influence. Come on, just look around. Who are the influencers? The people that are influenced, a lot of times they just happen to have some you want, which is a lot of times it's going to be access to more money, access to more resources. They just so happen to have all those things. And because they just happen to have all those things, then people gravitate towards them. That's why people gravitate towards people that are in entertainment, in professional sports, folks that are really successful in business. They gravitate towards these people because they're like, man, that is what I desire. That's what I really, I could have it. So I'm very rich. Why did I choose I'm very rich? The I'm very rich group. Why? Because Abraham was very rich. It didn't just say he was rich. He had it all. Cattle, silver, gold, people. He had it all. He had a whole army. He had people in his community that he trained on how to fight, and those people went and they took over and they beat nations. It says that they conquered 5 other nations with 300 men that he trained in his house. Abraham was very rich, and he was very rich in cattle, silver, gold, and people. So, when I'm looking here at the 7-year mark of my personal journey, right? Everybody gets to a point where, you're just like, wow, I see where I came from. But now the question we have to ask ourselves, do we know where we're going? That's one of the greatest questions that a person can ask and answer. Where am I going? Where am I going? And when Dr. Miles challenged me in his teaching to discover. He said, discover yourself by answering these questions. 1, who are you? 2, where are you from? 3, why are you here? 4, what can you do? 5, where are you going? When he challenged me, yes, he challenged me, and he wasn't even living. I just read his books. I just got all of his books, and I read them, and I downloaded them. I just thought, wow, how can I change my life? And then all of a sudden you become a new person. You become a new person. Sometimes it may take 7 years. It took me 7 years. It took me 7 years to get to a point where it's almost like I know who I am and I know what I'm capable of. God has definitely done an amazing work in me, and I'm thankful for all that He's doing. I'm excited for the next level. I'm excited for what's happening here on June 24th, the last Monday of June of 24, right? Just so happened to be the 24th. So I think today is powerful, one, because we're here. And don't waste a good day. Don't waste a good day. Allow yourself that even if there's an area that you know is a little weak, then acknowledge it. Just says, you know what, I'm a little weak there. And I got to ask myself a question: why is it weak? Have I been working on it? And if I haven't been working on it, then we just got to work on it. So after 7 years, God has definitely blessed, and He's continued to bless. And I look forward to the next 7 years, God willing. So, guys, I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of the Account for Life podcast. I'm Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, to help you to account for your life. God bless, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace.
This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time,